Good morning. It is day 17, I think. Friday the 5th of May. I think I'm a little bit behind. Not behind necessarily. I wasn't planning on really doing a update from town, but it's been a couple of days. Rolled into town. Got some pretty good mileage done early. The trail wasn't too hateful, and I think we knocked out 16 miles by 12:30. Got hitched pretty easily into Big Bear, and that night went out for some food, went out to a karaoke bar, and had some good times. And yesterday mostly trail chores, but we did cook dinner together as a group, which was kind of fun. And that was nice. So mostly chore day, but we did get to watch some Star Wars. We played both A New Hope as well as Solo in honor of May the 4th and all the festivities that it brings. So this morning got a early ride from a trail angel. She agreed to pick us up at 6:30. Got on trail by 7, and we're moving. We did not have 10 by 10, but that's pretty difficult to do when you don't have a car and your own transportation and you slept in a warm bed the night before, not on trail. But with having that ride arranged, we got, I think, 9 miles done by 10 a.m. So it's pretty solid. It is 10:26 now. Just ate a little bit of breakfast, put some water, or got some water from a stream. So what I ate is not counteracting how much heavier my pack is, but we got about 8 miles until the next water, so not too terrible. And we're stopping for lunch in probably about 5 miles, 6.2 from where we stopped, but I haven't been going for very long. So that's the plan, but this morning was awfully pretty. Sorry I didn't catch you on that, but this is it. One of the reasons we got off trail was because of the impending snow, and it's awfully pretty to hike in. Most of the snow's been untouched, just fell yesterday. Still nice and light and puffy. It's not real thick. There's nothing on the trail, but makes for a pretty walk in the morning. Had a couple of overlooks early, but since then we've kind of been on a little bit flatter land with some trees out and about. It almost reminds me of hiking on the East Coast, being in a green tunnel. So that's about it for now. Not sure how far we're going today. I'm hoping to hit at least 20. I'd be up for a little bit more than that, but in this group they kind of pick a place for lunch, have an idea of how many miles they want to do, but hammer it out and find a place to stop when we meet together for lunch. So I won't know that until probably about 2 hours from now, 12:30 or so. I imagine we'll be stopping for lunch. All right, until next time. Good morning. It is Saturday the 6th, and it's 9 o'clock on the dot right now. I think I've gone about 6.5 miles, so probably not gonna get 10 by 10, but we'll be close. Started out this morning at about 6:15, and there were 2 river crossings right off the bat, and they had sandy bottoms and smooth rocks, so I was able to take my shoes off, keep my feet dry. Well, my shoes dry, and then dry my feet off and put my shoes on. So we've got dry feet right now, which feels good. It got pretty chilly last night. I was sleeping with Sawyer and keeping him warm, but it frosted a bit on my sleeping bag again, so that was a little bit unpleasant, but I was nice and warm and toasty. I just need to get the bag out. It's not like penetrated into the down much, just a little bit on the surface, but still, since it is compressed in my bag, some of the down's going to be a bit moist. So when we stop for lunch, going to get that out and air it out. Since the last time we spoke, we did some big miles. Biggest miles I've done so far on the trail, and did it with 5 of the 8, 5 including me, of the 8 people that have been in our kind of little group. One of them has a knee issue. I think unfortunately we're going to have to move past. He's going a bit slower, which is completely understandable, but we got 7 other people trying to make it to Canada. So him and his girlfriend, partner, whatever, are lagging behind, as well as one girl is staying with them, at least for now. Who knows, they might catch up. They did 19 miles yesterday, so not a bad day, but not the 26.3 that we did, just over a marathon. So yesterday was nice, but I didn't take too many photos. This is honestly right now about the best look that we've been having, which is nice. I don't want to down it, but after having all this, oh, and you see the river down there. So it definitely makes for pleasant hiking, but it's not the overlook after overlook as you watch, seeing out the vastness of the desert and other mountains. One thing that we did kind of see earlier on is what I believe might be Mount Baden-Powell. Didn't take a picture because it was way off in the distance. Wouldn't have really turned out real well. And I think that's where we're headed, though. If it was Mount Baden-Powell, that is where we're headed. That's our next steep one, our next tall mountain. Probably won't summit that one. It's an out and back, a spur, and it's not as high as San Jacinto. So probably going to leave the summit alone and just stick on the PCT for that section. But that's why I've still got my spikes and my axe. Once we get past that, I'll probably send those up to Kennedy Meadows and lighten my pack by a couple of pounds. Speaking of a light pack, packed out half of my giant Jersey Mike sub yesterday, which was absolutely phenomenal in taste, but it was not light. I think I only needed 4 days of food, but what I've been doing is carrying 1 extra day of food and then kind of monitoring where I'm at food-wise. And then if I can, and it looks like we're going to make it off the mountain on time back to town, then the last 2 or 3 days I increase my calories and eat pretty much all the food that I have. At least that's what I did last time, and it worked out perfectly. I think I rolled into town with 2 Pop-Tarts and 1 granola bar. We started with 5 days worth of food and ended up with less than 1,000 calories. So that's not bad. That's kind of my plan for this trip, but it does make for a heavy day, first day out the gate. But I ate a ton yesterday because I brought enough for 5 lunches in my regular food supply, then having that extra Jersey Mike's. I did double lunch yesterday and I needed it, but whew, I was moving just a touch slower than normal coming out of lunch. Had a bit of a food baby going on, but we're out here, we're good. We've got hot springs at mile 305, I believe. So right now we're at like 297, best I can figure. We got a bridge right around 300. That'll be just over 10 miles from where we started camp. I think I'm gonna stop there, get a couple more snacks out, get them easily accessible, do a little bit of stretching, probably wait for the rest of the crew. I think I'm second in line out of 5 right now. There's 1 guy up ahead of me, everybody else behind. Probably wait there and then hike another 5 miles. Best I can figure, we should be at the hot springs before 1 p.m. It's a bit of a chilly day, so it'll be nice even if we're there in the middle of the day. And from there, probably hang out for a couple hours, hike another 3-4 miles, set up camp, and then gonna go for some big miles again tomorrow. I was hoping to do 33 on my 33rd, but that's probably not gonna happen. Just based on logistics and where we're at, 33 miles from where we're looking at probably camping tonight is gonna be on a road walk. There's a fire closure between Cajun Pass and Wrightwood. So there's a road walk bypass that we're gonna take, but I would imagine that camping on the side of the road is not gonna be ideal. So I'll probably push tomorrow to about 27, 28 miles. That should get us as close as possible to that Mickey D's. That way I can roll in and have Mickey D's for breakfast, roll up to Wrightwood, have some lunch there in town, resupply, probably pack out a town food dinner, and do the 2.4 mile side trail back up to the PCT from Wrightwood. It's kind of the tentative game plan. You know, that's about as far ahead in the future as I normally think. We were talking a little bit about the Sierras today, me and Roadrunner were, and you know, kind of what we want to do, if we want to skip, flip, whatever. And what we got to is, it's pointless to talk about right now. We can talk about philosophy all we want, but we don't have enough information yet. And that just reminds me to, you know, keep my thinking small. You know, I need to be aware of the future and kind of have an idea, but really need to focus on the moment, on the day, and probably only be thinking about one resupply ahead. Occasionally you run into a circumstance, need to send a box, whatever. But for the most part, trail life's pretty simple. You walk, and then you eat, and then you poop, and then you set up camp, and then you walk some more. Probably need to get some water in there somewhere too. But it's pretty simple, and I like it. Simple is good. So I'm gonna sign off now, try and shred some miles, get as close to 10 by 10 as I can. I'm not gonna hit it. I know I'm okay with that, but I'm gonna try and at least get 9 by 10. So I've got about 50 minutes to beat some feet. But before I go, just one last look. It's absolutely beautiful out here. All right, until next time. Good morning. I have lost track of the days. I know we're a little past 2.5 weeks. It is Sunday, May 7th. It's my birthday. And I got to sleep in a little bit for my birthday, which was actually really nice and refreshing. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But update since last we spoke. Yesterday evening was absolutely beautiful. The pictures aren't going to do it justice, but for the second half of the day, we were walking through like a canyon with a river at the bottom, and we were going in and out on the mountain, going in and crossing like a creek or something that, you know, had runoff contributing to the river, and then every once in a while we'd go all the way down and cross the river entirely. So kind of feels like a baby step into the Sierras with the river crossings. They've been a lot more than just rock hopping or getting your feet wet, but none of them have been too sketchy or too dangerous. But yesterday we hit the hot springs, stayed there for a couple of hours, soaked in the tubs. There's a little rock you can jump off into the river where it's cold. Did a little bit of that. Had a good old time out there. Spent like 2 hours, ate lunch. And then in the afternoon we had those views I was telling you about. Oh, and the best part about those views at the very end of this canyon that we're walking out of, you can see that it's clear out there. And you can see, oh, should have taken a look earlier. If you can look way out in the distance, there's just the very peak back there of Mount Baden-Powell and some clouds underneath. Well, yesterday those clouds were kind of low-lying, and you could see a good hunk of the peak and the mountain above, and it almost looked like it was just floating out there like, I don't know, Peach's Castle or something like that. Just a castle float, or mountains floating in the clouds. It was pretty neat. So we, after the hot springs, there wasn't, going through that canyon, there weren't a whole lot of places to camp, and we decided as a group that we were gonna camp after the next river crossing. We could see on the topo maps that it flattened out a bit after that, and we were aiming for about 3:14 to get out of the flood zone of the river. And we crossed the river. Me and River Dance were a little bit behind the rest of the crew, but not by much. We saw them crossing as we were there, and we got across. Didn't see anyone, kept hiking and hiking and hiking, and never saw anyone. So we thought they were up ahead of us. Me and River Dance kept continuing and thinking there's no way in hell both of us passed all three of them and didn't notice. But turns out we did. So we got some bonus miles in yesterday. I think I did a little over 25. Set up just as the sun was going down. Needed my headlamp for cooking, but not really for setup. So could have been a lot worse. But with having those bonus miles yesterday and being, about 4 or 5 miles camped ahead of where our group was, I got to sleep in on my birthday, which honestly I wasn't planning on, but it was nice. So right now I'm definitely not gonna make my 10 before 10 because of that, but I should be just about 6 by 10, which for getting an extra hour, at least maybe hour and a half of sleep, I'm gonna call that a win. So there's a bridge up here, probably within about the next mile for me now. And I'm gonna stop there, get my stuff out, let it dry out a little bit. It was a little condensation-y last night. Not terrible, but a little damp when we woke up this morning. So that's the plan for today, or for the immediate future. Today, probably gonna try to aim for about 20. Not a real big day. That gives our friends a little bit of a chance to catch up. And that puts us just a few miles outside of the McDonald's at Cajun Pass, which is nice because the trail is back open. I'm not sure what I have and haven't talked about on this, but the trail was closed from Cajun Pass up to Wrightwood, and now that closure we found out yesterday is back open, which means the McDonald's challenge of eating nothing but McDonald's from Cajun Pass to Wrightwood is back on. So I'm gonna eat as much as my food as my belly will hold, because anything else that I have when we get to McDonald's is just dead weight, because I'm switching over to straight Mickey D's until Wrightwood. So I'll let you know how that goes. A little bit concerned about my bowels, but we'll not get into too much detail on that. But yeah, beautiful day out here. We're heading towards Mount Baden-Powell. The views today have been okay, but not what we've been treated to previously on this trail. But still nice, wide open country, and occasionally, depending on where you're at, a peak of Mount Baden-Powell, which I do have to say looks awfully snowy. I'm not sure if it's because we're making an approach from the east, or as opposed to coming from the south, so we're seeing a different face of the mountain, because I don't think Baden-Powell is I don't think it's as tall as San Jacinto, but either way, the trail gets up to about the same height. I think 92, 9300, something like that. So we're not gonna summit. It's a spur out and back, not an alternate. So we're not gonna sweat it. And it's not as high as San Jacinto, which we've already done. So don't really feel a need to go off trail and do that as an additional achievement. But all of that's not till after Wrightwood anyways. So I'm talking way too far in the future. I think about a day and a half is all I can really have too many plans for. So when we get through that, we'll talk about what's on ahead. But that's it for me for today. I am out here on my 33rd birthday, just having a blast. There's nowhere I'd rather be. So until next time.